Well, hello, and welcome to Stop. Let's Team Up Those Daring Defenders number 16, covering issue number 8 of volume 1. Let's give you some of the basic information. Release date, June 26, 1973. Cover date, September 1973. Cover by Sal Buscema and John Costanza. It's a great cover. I remember getting this comic. I remember this cover. I remember my brother handing me this. And Hawkeye was in it. So I was like, Hawkeye. And it's Sal. So let's get to some more data. The name of this story is If Atlantis Shall Fall, ... If Atlantis Shall Fall. Writer Steve Englehart. Woohoo! Penciler Sal Buscema. Way to go, Sal. Inker Frank McLaughlin. Colors Petra Goldberg. Letterers Jasper Saladino and Charlotte Jeter. Editor Roy Thomas. Roll call: Namor, Valkyrie, Doctor Strange, Silver Surfer, Hulk, Hawkeye. Supporting cast: Wong, Clea, Black Knight, but in statue form. Villains in this are Attuma and the Red Ghost. Mentions of Avengers and blah blah blah. Let's get to the synopsis, and we're going to go from there. All right, this is synopsis from the Marvel database. Let me scroll to it. I had cat troubles. Cat walked across the keyboard and killed my mic. It took me a few minutes, so I lost my place. So here we go. Thanks, monkey. A mind-controlled Namor easily defeats Hawkeye and Valkyrie for the Red Ghost. Doctor Strange tries to locate the Defenders to update them on his search for a cure for the Black Knight, but he is only able to find the Silver Surfer and the Hulk. The Hulk tells them about the others that were captured by Attuma. Strange and Silver Surfer locate their comrades and free them from their mind-controlled state. Later, Doctor Strange uses his powers to contact the astral form of the Black Knight, asking him how he can be saved. His return message is altered. Will be covered next week, because that's just a tease of the prologue, or chapter 1 of the Avengers War. But next week we're going to cover the Avengers issue going in, the epilogue of that story, which is the prologue, which is at the end of that comic, and chapter 1 that's in this comic, and then we'll go on to Defenders 9. So I hope you don't mind that. It is a great comic. I remember loving this comic as a kid. I think some of these, it's good to have. It's good. I mean, these things should really. I'm a firm believer in context is king. You know, when it was written, who wrote it, why they wrote it, reflective. But how do you observe it in the present? But also, sometimes stories have connections with us, and comics have connection. And I remember this one a great deal because I think it was probably one of the first Defenders comics Huey ever gave me. It's either this or the Nebulon one, the last part of the Nebulon story that's coming up. But I really do love this era. I really am digging it. This starts with a great splash page. The crazed Submariner from the end of the last issue is charging Hawkeye and Valkyrie. And they have a nice little 3-page battle, and then they're being captured by Red Skull. Hawkeye tries to knock out the Red Ghost. Red Ghost. With a trick with his arrows. But then they're captured. We'll see a little flashback to Red. I don't know Red Ghost's history. I haven't read a lot of very, very early Iron Man. But he was a partner to the Unicorn. And the Unicorn had, and that's in it, Iron Man 16. And then Unicorn went on his own way, and that was in Iron Man 57 and 58. And Attuma went looking for some, he looked for bankrolled his crazy schemes, and he found Attuma, Submariner's villain. And then he takes control over their minds, Hawkeye's and Valkyrie. And then we shift to the Sanctum Sanctorum, and Doc Strange tries to find everybody, but all he finds is Hulk and Surfer. And then we cut back on the next page God, this art is great, man. Sal is fun. It's fun. I really am digging this. But in between flashing forward and back between them, Hulk doesn't want to tell Doctor Strange, but Doctor Strange, gets the Hulk puts him in a trance and gets him to tell what happened before. And then it cuts to Atlantis, where Submariner, Hawkeye, and Valkyrie are leading the charge attacking Atlantis for Attuma, trying to take over the kingdom. But there's a problem with the brainwashing that starts to make Valkyrie just trip balls. And she's seeing trails, and it's not good. It's not a good buzz. It's awful. And then Silver Surfer and Doc Strange show up. Valkyrie sees him all distorted, and then they realize Surfer and Doc Strange put two and two together that it's the control is actively controlled by active cosmic rays, which powered the Red Ghost. He got his powers from the same source as the Fantastic Four. So they travel super fast around the world, putting up Doc Strange puts up a barrier, cuts off all cosmic powers from people who get their power from the cosmic radiation. And Red Ghost sees solid again because he can make himself kind of like a ghost. He's kind of like the Mist, except a Russian spy with monkeys. And that also frees the three defenders. Namor decks Attuma. It's got a great salve getting punched toward the panel. And that's the end. Okay, in this comic, there is Chapter 1 of the Avengers Defenders storyline. I'm not going to cover that today because there is, at the end of Avengers 115, is a prologue by the creative team of the Avengers, which sets up the Defenders War. So next week, I'm going to cover the prologue, Chapter 1, and then the Avengers 116. Okay? Which you'll appreciate why I'm doing it, and I'm going to appreciate why I'm doing it. What's neat is I get to jump to a color trade. I really do like reading the comics in a book or somewhat form. I don't mind the app. If I have to read on the app, I do. It's worth the money I pay for the app. Just access to stuff is just worth it. It's glorious and it's fun. But that's next week. I want to talk about this one. This is just a nice tie-up. It's a little buffer story before this big event. I think Englehart is writing entertaining comic books. They're fun. They're full. They are full of the tropes. But this is well, let's think about it. Avengers is in its 700 issues, and we're going to be doing a story that starts in 115. So there is decades and decades and decades and volumes and volumes and volumes of these characters and the tropes that are developed. But I think this is Englehart putting his stamp on it. It is a very Marvel stamp. But I do enjoy it. I like the action. The flashbacks are interesting. I think he gives the characters a voice. Are they uber deep voices? Like, really in-depth, character stuff? I don't think so. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I mean, he writes Hawkeye very well. He doesn't write Hawkeye a lot. This is it. And then a little at the end of his run on Avengers. But they're good and they're different and they're unique. I haven't read a lot of Namor, so my Namor is really based on this, and then when he was in the Avengers, when Roger Stern was writing it. But I'm enjoying that. I really love this Valkyrie. Once we get through, I don't want to say through the Englehart stuff, but once we get out of the Avengers Defenders War, which I always have read as an Avengers story, that the Defenders kind of teamed up in, because that's the way I went at it. That's the way I kind of focused it. This time I'm focusing on the Defenders story that affects the Avengers, because they're looking for their buddy Black Knight. So, but I thought this story was a lot of fun, a lot of action. It's, compared to modern comics, a little wordy, but I enjoyed it. A lot of fun stuff. I may go back and read some of those Iron Mans tonight after I edit and put this up. Kind of interested. I read a lot of George Tuska Iron Man, and I don't know who wrote it. I just remember I loved it because I love George Tuska's art, and my brother got it and he would hand him to me. So like George Tuska is my first Iron Man artist really for solo, and that's a good thing. One day maybe I will talk about George Tuska because that unsung hero. But other than that, the comic's a little fun. It was a lot of fun. It's done. I'm more excited. I'm like focused on Avengers Defenders War. I'd like to know what you guys think of that arc. I'll put it out there to have people let me know. What do they think of the lineup? What do they think of the characters? When I post this for next week, and maybe throughout the week, I'll post different questions and polls and see what you guys think. But I'm going to do a little bit before we go into the Avengers Defenders War. So, I mean, that's it for this week. I hope I talked enough about the book and not just about Avengers Defenders. Great battle scenes. But this weekend, Len Wein will go up. The episode about Len Wein will go up with me and Ron from Fantastic Comic Fan. And then next Tuesday, another Legion. And then next Thursday, parts 1 and 2 of the Defenders of Avengers War. Yay. I'm excited. But until then, folks, do me a favor. Be smart. Be safe. Be kind. And read some comics.